In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to start an LLC in Minnesota. And I'm going to be giving you 3 ways to do it: the DIY route through the state website, the DIY do-it-yourself route using online legal tools, or hiring an attorney. As far as hiring an attorney, I'm also going to give you a tip on how you can get a 15-minute consult for free so you're not immediately running the meter. But more important than all of that is we're going to be talking about terms that are related to cracks in your LLC. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can set up an LLC, but if it's not done correctly, there are cracks and it's not a legit LLC and you're creating a lot of liability for yourself. So if you're not familiar with terms such as piercing the corporate veil, registered agents, or commingling funds, I'm going to be talking about those throughout this video and explaining what those mean and why it's so important to understand that. So first, why don't we look at the DIY route if you're going through the state website. So if you were to Google Minnesota LLC, this first listing here is going to take you to the state website. As you would expect, state websites are not the best as far as user experience, but as far as state websites go, this one's not terrible. But what you're looking at here is there's 2 ways to go about this. One is you can do the articles of organizations for an LLC. You fill this out, you print it up, and you mail it in. Or the other route is you can click here, and then this is going to open up where you can do a online search. Through this route, you can create an account up here, and then you can pretty much go through the same steps that's on that PDF, but be able to do it through an online portal. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this little tiny mention right here, filing fee of $155, and then for expedited service, in-person and online filings, and then $135 if by mail. So if you do this whole thing by mail, it is going to be $20 cheaper as if you go through the online route, which to me is crazy because it should be easier going online, but that's just the way they set it up. And do know that that fee, you're going to pay that regardless of how you do it. If you go with an attorney, they may bake it into their cost structure, but there is going to be a $155 fee that you have to pay to the state to get set up with an LLC, or $135 if you mail it in. Now, one of the things you should be aware of is this business name search, right? The goal of this is that when you have a name for your LLC, there can't be another name similar to it. You need a unique name. So if we were to put like Vikings in here, which obviously is going to be taken in the state of Minnesota, what you're going to see is all these listings and it's active and these are trademarked and it's going to give you all this information and details on all these names. Now, if we were to put something crazy in and just let the fingers go wild, right? And you click search, this is what you're looking for: is no results match the criteria entered. So it's nice that they have this connected to their online database, and this is going to let you know if the name you have in mind is going to work. And then from there, you can create an account and then you can go through the steps. It's pretty much going to walk you through this PDF online. But one of the things that I don't like is as you go through that process is they kind of like glaze over important things. And what I mean by that is in this particular case, in Article 2, it talks about the registered office address and agent. So it's talking about a registered agent, but it really doesn't explain what a registered agent is. So I think at this point, it's actually more important to explain exactly what an LLC is and then how some of those terms I mentioned earlier in the video relate to your LLC. So some people think there's like a tax advantage for having an LLC. There's not. It's simply about limiting your liability. But if you think of it in this way, you have your business assets. So as you build your business and you have maybe an office or a retail store or location, and you have these assets that you're accruing, but at the same time, you have your personal assets, your personal home, personal bank account, personal car, things of that nature. An LLC draws a division between these 2 asset classes, and that division is called the corporate veil. That is the thing that protects your personal assets. If you were unfortunately to be sued, if that attorney were to sue you, they can only come after your business assets. But what that attorney is going to try to do is pierce the corporate veil. And basically what they do is they try and find a crack in your LLC. And if they're able to do that, then what they can do is essentially erase that division. And if they were to sue your business, they can not only come after your business assets, but your personal assets as well. So that is why you're setting up the LLC, is to limit your liability. But one of the things that people are unaware of is when you're setting up with a registered agent, they're not really sure what that is, and they just say, I don't know, that's my cousin Jimmy down the street because I'm trying to save some money and I just want to get this thing set up. And these services, such as the state websites, really don't spell out what a registered agent is. There's a nice article here on InkFile. If you're not familiar with InkFile, it's an online legal tool for setting up LLCs and business entities. And as you scroll down a little bit, it kind of gets into a bullet point list of what a registered agent is. And basically, it's a third party. It acts as like a go-between for your business. So when you're getting official documentation or different things, it's going to that registered agent who has a different address than your office, and then they are forwarding you that information. So official letters and correspondence from your Secretary of State, service of process notices. So basically, if you get sued, to make sure you're like appearing in court, official federal government correspondence information and notifications, tax forms and requests for payment, and then requests to complete permits, company filings, or reports. So the problem is if you just make some random person your registered agent because they live in Minnesota, which is required of your registered agent, being a legit registered agent and making sure that your LLC is up to date, that you may be creating cracks in your LLC because maybe you didn't do your company filings or reports because that person never told you about it because they didn't know about it. So it's really important that you have an official registered agent and somebody that knows what they're doing so that you're not creating a crack in your LLC, so that if an attorney were to sue you, they can pierce the corporate veil and come after your personal assets as well. So that to me is the biggest disappointing part about going through the state website. Yes, if you want to save $20 by filling this out yourself and hoping you get everything correct, you can do that. But what I typically recommend is going through an online tool and having something that's going to guide you and give you more access to information and resources to make sure that you're doing things correctly. Now, there are a lot of tools out there such as like LegalZoom, InkFile, Zen Business, Rocket Lawyer. The reason that I personally like InkFile is if you're on the homepage here and we scroll down a little bit, you can see business formation for as little as $0 plus state fee. So I always recommend this service because it's $0 plus state fee, and they have incorporated over 500,000 businesses since 2004, and they've been around a long time and doing this a long time. Now, if you're like me, you might be wondering like, all right, what's the catch? How are they making money? So I'm gonna walk you through that and explain that right now. Now, when you're going through the process and you click entity type LLC, do you know that 80% of all new entities, so you can see different entities here, are LLCs. So you're in good company with that. And then you'd pick your state. And then there's going to be 3 different packages that you can choose from. And in the silver package, this is where you can see $0 and then your state fee of $155 for an online filing. Now, what you get with that is the preparing and filing of the articles of organization. So pretty much this right here. And then what you also get is unlimited name searches, which you can do on the state website that I showed you. But on top of that, you get a free registered agent service for a year. So that's what I want to talk about right now. Is it's kind of nice because year 1, you're going to have a free service. But then in year 2, year 3, you are going to be charged for that registered agent service. So if we scroll down on this page that we were looking at earlier, you can see on this section right here, it's a free registered agent service. And then it's just $119 annually after that. So year 2, year 3, year 4, it's going to be $119 for the registered agent service. You're not locked in to having to use InkFiles, but I always recommend it because it's free the first year. It's not going to cost you anything, and you know that it's somebody who's legit in your state, and this is what they do for a living and for a career. Again, I can't stress it enough. Don't make it your friend or family member. Get an official registered agent. So going back to this pricing chart here, if you did want to upgrade, there is the option to go with gold or platinum. Of course, you have the package fee that starts to kick in now at $149 and $299. But there are a couple things that I want to highlight on the screen here that are going to be helpful for you as you set up your business. This one is the EIN business tax number. Now, they do this for you as part of this package. When I set up my LLC, I did this myself. It was a pain in the butt. Now, if you want to do it yourself, I can give you the link here. And again, this will be in the description below. This is where you'd want to go. There's a bunch of things you can go through. Do you need an EIN? How do you do it? Blah, blah, blah. And then you can apply for your EIN online through the IRS site. Of course, again, not the best user experience. And if you want InkFile to take care of this for you, they will do it for you. So I mentioned that I did this myself. So this is a good point to bring up that I am not a CPA or an attorney. I'm just somebody who's done a lot of research in this space. And I want to give you all the options that are available to you and let you make an educated decision on what you want to do. So going back to this, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the business banking account. Now, if you recall at the beginning of the video, we talked about commingling funds. So that's another potential crack in your LLC is if you have a personal bank account and you're running business transactions through that account as well. If that's the case and you were sued, an attorney that's doing the suing is going to try to find stuff like this, cracks in your LLC, to say this is not a legit LLC. Just look, they're commingling funds. They don't even have a business banking account. Now, of course, if you want to get this set up on your own, you can set up a business bank account, but they just make things easy and put it all together. Currently, as I'm making this video, it's through Bank of America is how they set that business banking account up. But even if you go through the state website or you go through the silver package, make sure you get a business banking account set up and separate your funds. It's not only going to just make it so that your LLC is more legit. When it comes to tax time, it's a lot easier to just like export, files from your business banking account and knowing that all the income coming in and income going out is all related to your business and it's not commingling into your personal account as well. So it's going to make tax time a lot easier for you as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is if you need to hire an attorney and why you would do that. Now, if you have a business that is more complex or potentially has more liability at stake, certain businesses are going to naturally carry more liability than others. Like if you were starting a company that is going to be doing roofing, that's a high liability service because you could have somebody falling off of somebody's house. Now, if you compare that to being like an online tutor business or something where you're just like tutoring people on math, like that is not a high liability business. The other thing to consider too is where you're making your sales. If your sales are all in state or if they're in state, not a state, if you're already creating a lot of income for your business, I think it might also be a good idea to hire an attorney as well. So just think of these things, but one of the tools that I like to use is a tool called Avo. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I will include the link in the description below. And why I like it is you can look up Minnesota Limited Liability Company LLC lawyers and you'll see there's 26 results here. But one of the nice things about this service is if you scroll down, you can click free consultation. And now we're going to see these 26 results are down to 7 results. So these are all attorneys that operate in the state of Minnesota that are LLC attorneys, and they will offer you a free 15-minute consult to kind of go through any initial questions that you may have. So if you do want to go this route, I think it's great. Just know that when you do get set up, it may cost somewhere from like $750 up to $3,000 to get set up through an attorney. So that is why some people shy away from that method. So you kind of have to make some determinations about your business, what you're doing, and if it makes sense to go that route. The last thing I want to talk about is this video on the screen right here. It is an ink file review video, but at about the 2:30 mark is where I talk about S-Corps and how you could potentially save on taxes if your business is set up as an S-Corp. Now, you do need to have about $40,000-$50,000 of annual income, net income, for that to work, but it's good to know for the future and things to think about. And again, if you use my links in the description below, I appreciate it, especially if it's an affiliate link, as you can help support my YouTube channel. All right, guys, I will catch you in this next video right here.